Joe Rogan has now reacted to the chaos surrounding Ilia Topuria and his wife. And according to people close to the situation, things are reportedly getting more intense with each passing day.
Is it publicly? There's like a divorce?
Oh, yeah. Well, she's taking photos with rappers and shit, putting it on Instagram.
No.
Yeah. They try to put a fucking knife right in your spirit. This is the mother of your children, and this lady is a monster. There's a lot of ladies like that because you hooked up with a guy who's an incredibly special human being. You not just a UFC world champion, but a 2-division world champion superstar who the whole world wants to see, and you're his wife. So you're like, oh, look at me. And then he doesn't want to be with you anymore. Well, I'm gonna take you down. Reputation destruction. That's what they really are experts in.
Actually, I met my wife in Miami.
Really?
Yeah, she was living there.
Damn. Who says you can't meet your wife in Miami?
But you can find your wife in any place in the world.
You hear that? Put that on Only in Date on Instagram. You can meet your wife in Miami.
That's right.
Put it on Only in Date is hilarious.
Every year. But why are you saying that?
Huh?
Why are you saying that?
Everyone says that.
Because you go to the party and this is the only place you see. But you don't know the another part of Miami of people that just they want.
Normal.
Yeah.
Best place to work out too, Miami, because you can just walk outside and run, the water.
Does anybody get under your skin? You know what that means? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like somebody that knows to say something that triggers. They see your face is saying something though.
I think the only person is my wife, probably. She's the only person. No one else, I think.
Seriously?
I think so.
That's very good.
Yeah.
You know, because you know that is a big strength of a lot of great ones were like that. Some of it wanted it. Some people wanted it. Like Michael Jordan's was. He wanted you to say something to him. Yeah. And then he would convince himself that you said something about him really bad. And then he wanted to kill you. That's what Michael would talk about. You know?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, he was playing basketball.
Right.
And I have enough of that energy that I wanna go in and take his head off.
What started as a private relationship problem has now erupted into a full-blown controversy that's shaking the UFC from the inside. Over the past few weeks, quiet whispers about Ilia Topuria's personal life have turned into major headlines, with reports of a bitter divorce, a growing legal battle, and a lawsuit serious enough to force one of the sport's most dangerous champions to step away from the octagon. This is no longer tabloid gossip. This is real life crashing into elite competition, and it's already impacting the future of an entire division. Based on what's publicly available, the situation between Topuria and his wife deteriorated rapidly, with legal filings pointing to intense disputes over finances, assets, and personal conduct. While neither side has revealed every detail, the tone of the case says it all. This isn't peaceful, this isn't private. It's messy, emotional, and all-consuming, and that's exactly where the UFC gets pulled into the storm.
I had to dig into this. I guess I misunderstood. Ilia Topuria made headlines. My belief through the headlines is that Ilia was walking away from the UFC championship belt, thus elevating Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett to undisputed title. Now, once I dug into this, I can't quite recall why I thought it in the first place. I mean, once I dug into it, there was nothing in the article that said that Paddy and Justin was going to be undisputed, or that the UFC was accepting, or that Ilia was surrendering a belt back. And I was talking with Daniel Cormier. Daniel's always got the inside scoop. It's like, hey Daniel, you just got back from calling this event. What is going on there? Is Justin and Paddy moved up? And Daniel said no. He said that essentially in all of these articles and all of these news waves that have now just come out on Ilia Topuria, it's repackaging what we already knew. It was Ilia coming in front of this thing and saying, hey, I'm dealing with some big stresses in my personal life, and one of the great concerns that I have is that there's going to be a claim made against me for domestic violence, and I'm sitting here and I'm just waiting for this shoe to drop. And until it does, and until I can deal with that, try to work my own personal things back into order, I won't be competing. Now, I think a lot of you are going to hear what I just said and go, hey Chael, you're 2 weeks late on the story. No, that is the story. The story is that this made headlines for something that we were already told a couple of weeks ago, and there is no escalation from that, meaning Ilia Topuria is not vanquishing or having stripped from him the title.
3. Ilia Topuria vacating his belt, according to insiders, didn't happen without reason. Sources claim the mental pressure of the legal battle combined with court appearances, legal responsibilities, and non-stop media attention made it impossible for him to prepare at a championship level. For a fighter known for discipline, precision, and total control inside the cage, losing control outside of it can be the one thing that derails everything.
Some news regarding Ilia Topuria, because I do think that as of this morning, it's probably the biggest news of the day. So obviously by now you know that he is not fighting on January 24th. You know that he is taking a bit of a break. You know that there's an interim title on the line at UFC 324. You know all that stuff and more. Well, over the weekend, he spoke to ESPN Deportes. I want to play those two clips in a moment, but I want to start with the new news first, if you will, because he posted on Instagram this morning an update on his status, and he also discussed what he's been going through. And I think it's worth reading because this is the most he has said about all this. Over the past several weeks, I've made the difficult decision to temporarily step away from defending my title. This was not a decision I took lightly. However, when circumstances arise that threaten your personal integrity, your family, and your reputation, there comes a point when you must address them directly. In recent months, I have been subjected to severe and unacceptable pressure, including threats to disseminate false allegations of domestic abuse unless financial demands were met. These allegations are entirely unfounded. The truth is not a matter of opinion, it is a matter of evidence. All relevant evidence has been carefully preserved and documented, including audio recordings, written communications, witness statements, and video material. This evidence has been submitted to appropriate judicial authorities in order to pursue legal action for attempted extortion, falsification of evidence, misappropriation of funds and personal property, and multiple threats. My initial decision to remain silent was made solely to protect my children, who are the most important part of my life. However, I've come to understand that silence under these circumstances does not protect the truth. It allows false narratives to take hold. Many individuals have faced similar situations, and time and again, the legal system has ultimately clarified the facts. Today, I'm stepping forward not only for my family and myself, but also to demonstrate that no one should be forced to yield to intimidation, manipulation, or fear. Those who know me can attest that I have never engaged in violence of any kind, and that my life and career have always been guided by discipline, respect, and integrity. I have full confidence in the judicial process and will allow the legal system to determine the facts based on evidence. Out of respect for my children and the ongoing legal proceedings, I will not be making any further public statements. I respectfully ask that speculation be avoided and that my family's privacy be honored during this sensitive time. The truth does not require volume, it requires facts. Thank you, Ilia Topuria. So that is heavy duty stuff. Obviously, we knew that he was going through some personal issues and there's rumors online, and I didn't want to partake in any of those. I had not heard any of this.
Did Ilia Topuria and his wife break up? Like, seriously, I'm actually so upset about this. Honestly, I hate when good-looking couples split up. Ilia Topuria and his wife Georgina look like such a power couple together, and if this is true, this would be so shocking.
We already dreamed this so many times. We always say that you have to see things before they happen.
Another dream come true.
But what if it's true? What will this mean for Ilia Topuria's perfect 17-0 MMA record? And you know what they say, behind every successful man is an even better woman. Anyway, everyone's going on about this awkward Nelk Boys video with Ilia Topuria, so let's check it out.
Fans are deeply divided. Some believe Topuria made the right call, stepping away to protect his mental health and avoid defending a title under extreme emotional stress. Others see it as the start of a downfall, arguing that true champions are expected to fight through adversity, not step back from it. That debate alone has pushed Topuria into the center of the MMA conversation overnight. What makes this situation even more explosive is the timing. He was at the absolute peak of his run, undefeated, feared, and rapidly becoming the face of his division. And suddenly, the belt is gone. The future is unclear, and the UFC is scrambling to reorganize title plans that were once set in stone. But here's where things take a darker, more intriguing turn. People close to Topuria say this ordeal hasn't weakened him, it's sharpened him. There's a growing belief within the MMA community that when Ilia eventually returns, he won't be the same calm technician fans remember. He'll return fueled by heartbreak, anger, and something dangerous to prove.
I had not heard any of these allegations or rumors, innuendo, any of that. And so you can understand even more so why he would want to step away and not focus on fighting or defending his title, because obviously there's a lot going on. It's extremely sad. It's I feel for everyone involved. I feel for his family. I feel for his kids. It's an awful situation. And so let's see what happens. Let's see what becomes of it. And let's see when we can see him back in there. As of now, there's no real timeline set in place. He spoke to ESPN Deportes about that, about his decision to walk away. Here's what he had to say, and I'll read the subtitles for you in case you're just listening to the audio. Finally, Ilia, because what the public wants to know, you announced not the first quarter, that you'll fight in January. When would you like to fight? When you feel it's time to return? Well, Ilia says, as I've communicated, I'm going through some personal problems. I do not have an exact date when everything will be fixed. I hope that as soon as possible, as soon as it is solved, I will be ready to go back. In the octagon, I prioritize at this time the welfare of my family, of my children, my own. So as soon as everything is solved, I will be back to the octagon to give it the show that everyone deserves. He's then asked if he's going to be there. We are making decisions at this time, whether I'll make the trip on January 24th, but I hope so. I hope so. So that's what he had to say to ESPN Deportes on Saturday at his own event, WOW FC. I believe that was in Madrid. Interestingly enough, PT alerted me of this. It was actually streaming on Cristiano Ronaldo's YouTube page. So great, publicity. He's now teamed up with them, and they're trying to do big things over in Spain. He was also asked, by the way, how the UFC was handling the situation and the kind of support that they were giving to him. Here's what he had to say. I think a lot of people were surprised that you were not fighting in the first quarter, at least. But how is it with the UFC? Are they understanding? Because obviously all the fighters can go through problems such as what you are going through. How understanding was Hunter and the other people involved? The truth is, Ilia says, they have been excellent. We have a special connection. I have understanding without having to give a lot of explanation, understanding from them. From the very first moment, they have extended their hand. I have been offered their support in any time I needed it. So I don't really know. I'm very happy for the support I've received from them, for the understanding, and also happy about the steps that they have to take. It has obviously been a conversation we have had, and as a promoter now that I have the experience, I also have the experience of going through this part of the sport as a promoter and not only as a fighter. I understand in many, many more ways that perhaps. So I am very happy, to be honest, because of the relationship that I'm starting to have with the UFC and for the understanding that they have had with me. So there you have it. He is very happy with the sport. He did also say that he wants to finish his MMA story and then go into boxing, but that's a lot of steps away.
And actually, all of these articles going around, all of these stories you're going around, you're hearing about Ilia Topuria have no direct tying to Paddy the Baddy and Justin Gaethje. I get where this is confusing. I even asked Daniel that. I said, hey man, what am I missing? I get the severity. I get that we don't want to lighten up a personal topic, and when domestic violence is thrown in there, I get that we don't want to do that. I thought we dealt with this a couple of weeks ago. Is there about to be a legal charge? Is there about to be an investigation? Is there something new coming from this? And the answer was no. But it's got Ilia in a panic. So I start reading these articles. I start going through them all. I'm going, man, these headlines are very misleading. Let me get to the bottom of it. And Ilia does at some point make that statement, which is, I knew that this was going to come out. I thought staying quiet was a way to deal with it. But I've now learned when you're quiet in the world of PR, it gives fuel to flames of false narratives. So I'm going to come out and I'm going to let you know that I am expecting sooner or later an accusation to be made about domestic violence. What do we do with the interim belt? I mean, I feel awful for Ilia Topuria, but not having heard any of this story, not having Ilia said that, or getting Daniel to explain it to me, or taking my time and going back and reading through the articles so that I come to you guys and I don't misspeak. Absent of any of that, I would have been able to tell you if it was in fact a personal story.
History shows that fighters who return from personal collapse often come back more dangerous than ever. Think about it: personal betrayal, public judgment, legal warfare, and a stripped title. That kind of pressure doesn't fade quietly. It creates monsters. Joe Rogan has repeatedly said that emotional trauma either breaks fighters or unlocks an entirely new level of focus and violence. And Ilia Topuria feels like the type of athlete who turns chaos into fuel. The idea of him tearing back through the division, hunting contenders, and reclaiming what he believes was taken from him is terrifying.
If there was in fact something personally going on with that beautiful girl that pops up on camera as Ilia's headed to the ring, that a claim of domestic violence was going to be involved. I don't attempt to sound cynical in the least. I could have told you the day that the rumors came out that it was a personal something involving her and him, that the words domestic violence were going to get attached to it. I was a little bit more surprised when Ilia came out and got in front of him and says, hey, I can't take this anymore. I'm losing sleep at night over this. Let's rip this Band-Aid off. These words, domestic violence, these words are going to get associated with me. The whole world kind of had my reaction. The whole world kind of had my reaction where they're going, wait, did that not already happen? We've made it this far. We've made it this many weeks into what we've known from Jump Street as a personal dispute with the two of you. We wish you and your family the best, but you're telling me we've made it this far and those words haven't come out yet? That's a surprise to me. I would have assumed that they had. And can we now set that as uncomfortable as that topic apparently is, and I don't love it much more, that can we just set that over here because we have a different issue, which is the career and the fighting career of Ilia Topuria. Because there has been some rather strange things that have happened to him as of late. I mean, the number one contender for his belt, Arman Tsarukyan, ends up not getting a shot at the belt, has to go out and do another fight, which officially gets named the number one contender's fight, of which Tsarukyan wins, but he is not fighting for the belt. Hattie the Baddie versus Justin Gaethje are going to go ahead and fight. Though I don't know if either one of them has ever asked to fight the other, as much as they just wanted the opportunity and the idea of fighting, of which I'm good with. And somewhere along the way, Islam Makhachev, for beating Jack Del Maddalena, skips over Ilia Topuria in the pound-for-pound rankings, and nobody's acting like that happened.
Fans are already calling this the most insane comeback arc the UFC has seen in years. The real question now isn't if Ilia Topuria will return, it's when. Some insiders believe the legal situation could be resolved within months, while others warn it could stretch on for a year or longer, depending on how aggressive both sides remain. And the longer he stays away, the bigger the myth surrounding his return continues to grow.
Who do you think wins if Islam and Topuria fight?
I hope it's gonna happen. It's gonna be a tough fight for Ilia, for sure. Ilia make you either shoot him, which is he will stop, or no, Islam has to strike with him, and in striking we all know how Ilia fights and how dangerous he is and how knockout power he have. So it's gonna be a tough fight for Ilia for sure, like every fight is, but I believe he can finish Islam Makhachev.
Ilia moving up to lightweight. Is it safe to say that Ilia Islam is the fight that we're sort of working toward?
There's still other possibilities. There's a lot of going on right now.
Did he vacate the belt, or did you guys say we don't want to hold up the featherweight division?
No, he did that. He said, I've done everything I can do here. I'm ready to move up, and he vacated it. I respect when guys do that.
Do you feel that if the UFC gives this fight to Paddy the Baddy, do you think that's the right thing?
It's a mess right now at 155 pounds. It's very difficult to say, Paddy Pimblett, you're next up, when you haven't fought Arman Tsarukyan, Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Charles Oliveira. I understand Arman weighed in as a backup. I gave you a shot for you to weigh in. You don't make weight. That doesn't make a company very, very happy. And can that company trust you? Who's done more than Justin Gaethje as far as favors for the UFC?
That's not realistic, bro. The UFC moves on, bro. This is how you matchmake it. It does have to be Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett, and you do have to be fair. Give it to Arman. Arman does deserve that shot, bro. Like, straight up.
And because when a champion disappears under circumstances like these, the sport doesn't just move on. It waits. And when Ilia Topuria finally steps back into the octagon carrying the weight of a shattered marriage, a public legal battle, and a vacated crown, it won't be just another comeback fight.